You're now listening to a Rat House production podcast. For more podcasts like this, head to retthaus.net.
Hello and welcome to Comics After Dark's overview, where we go over comic book story arcs. This month's theme is Guardians of the Galaxy. I am your host for this episode, Acidic Aaron. So I'm going to be going through Guardians of the Galaxy, the Planet Symbiote story arc is one of my favorites. It's right after the story arc Tiffany's going to be going through. So this starts right after her 3 issues that she'll be going over. So if you listen to that one, you can just follow right on and listen to this. So with this team in the current universe, Guardians of the Galaxy is Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Captain Marvel, who's getting her movie very soon, so we'll be seeing her. But in this one, she is pretty much Miss Marvel, who turned into Captain Marvel, and Venom from the Spider-Man series, which was one of my all-time favorite villains, but it was even better, and it got so much more in depth when Flash Thompson became Venom. Flash Thompson, before he actually joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, he was a soldier, went to Iraq, got his legs blown off, so he became a disabled vet, kind of fell into alcoholism and lost his way until the government came up to him and to see if he would be able to wear the Venom symbiote, and they kind of neutered it where he can control the being and it's not controlling of him. So this is a different kind of Venom, but as the series goes along, before he joins the Guardians, it starts to go back and forth where it's maybe fighting against the toxins that they put into it to keep it under control. And then that being said, we also have Rocket Raccoon within the group, as well as his big leafy friend Groot. So yeah, meanwhile, I'm going to give you the last synopsis of Flash Thompson, aka Venom, has been placed with the Guardians of the Galaxy as Avengers Earth representative. However, after being kidnapped and separated from the group, Venom may not be keen on interstellar adventures. Space has done strange things to his symbiote, and as each day passes, it grows stronger and more difficult to control. Can Flash regain control of the symbiote, or will he lose himself and become the murderous monster that he has kept at bay for so long? Again, this is written by Brian Michael Bendis, and the artist is Valerio Schiti. It's Schiti, so I'm not too sure how you would say that, but let's jump into this. Pretty much the book starts off with an intergalactic council talking about Earth, that, Earth gives us way too many problems than it actually gives us solutions or good technology or anything productive or positive from Earth is outweighed by the dangers and damage that Earth causes, whether it's the Infinity Gauntlet, the Infinity Cube. They're always tending to mess with things that they shouldn't, and they're pretty much trying to get approval for wiping out Earth. That being said, after that, it jumps to kind of like a space cantina from Star Wars, in a sense, where it looks like a bar filled with different kinds of aliens, a lot of them talking smack on Earthers. As you look, you see someone in a black and white coat just sitting by himself, and then there's someone saying oh, I know Earth, I'm gonna go take care of him right now, just throwing out. I love how they're always saying, all right, Earth loving flackards or flacknards. They're always cussing, but since they just randomly make up gibberish, it's totally okay. So the guy, he's drunk and he's walking away into an alley, and you see this hooded figure follow him, and you're not too sure who it is, but then it comes kind of clear because he's asking, you're gonna take me to Earth. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna do anything. You know how to get there, you're going to take me there. And then as he's telling him this, the coat starts to morph and change, and then we kind of realize that, oh no, it's Venom, it's Flash. And he's like, fine, and he turns into this big, it's not the Venom we've ever seen, it's a huge, double-winged monster, kind of looks like a xenomorph in a sense, mixed with that, and he goes full beast mode. Take me to Earth. I can, and he's just telling him, take me to Earth. It turns out the guy was just talking crap, I was lying, I don't know know where it is.
No, you're gonna take me.
And he's like, please don't kill me. I know what you are. I recognize your symbiote. Please spare me. And then you just hear him scream. And then as the hooded figure, Venom, or Flash, walks out, you see blood trailing from the alley, which isn't something he would do. He's a soldier, but he's not a murderer. So this tells us that something is very wrong with our hero Flash. After that, jumps into another scene with Peter Quill and Shadowcat. Pretty much at this point in the series, they are an item, and they actually, I believe, continue to be an item. But at this point, it's like having a girlfriend that lives on the opposite side of the country, except she's in the other side of the universe. They're trying to work things out by calling and doing the long distance thing, but they're having trouble. And it kind of gets really funny at one point because Peter Quill is just kind of like, I've been with a lot of women. And he has a point, but she's like, no, please continue. This is every girl's dream. He's like, no. My point is, Kitty, I didn't do any of it this time. It's okay because I didn't fuck up this time. Instead, I thought I needed to talk to Kitty. I needed to see her face. Even if she's a billion miles away, I need to see her. And she's like, aw, like he totally flips it, which, Peter Quill's got that ability to be honest and still make it work. So, yeah. After that, they start talking about, like, well, how's the team doing? And you see, well, everybody's handling things differently. Jumps into Drax, kind of like riding a bull, but it's a big triceratops looking kind of alien. He rides it, gets thrown off it, where he like turns around and holds it by his teeth, kind of like reminds me of a Hercules kind of moment when the lion tries to devour his head. And he takes it out, and just so you see him just sitting at the sunset of the other planets in the background. So then we jump right back into what Venom and Flash are up to. Going through, he's looking for guns, trying to figure out how to get back to Earth. So for whatever reason, Venom is just obsessed with going back to Earth, and the condom is like, good idea to host a Clintar. You're a genius. Who thinks it's a good idea to host a Clintar? So he's kind of like talking crap, saying like, you think you're smart, but you're wearing a symbiote. So people know these things, and supposedly they're called Clintars, Klyntar. And then he gets in his face, and Venom starts to get way more upset and starts to lose a little bit of control. But then at that moment, who walks in out of all the bars and out of the gym joints? She had to walk into mine. And it was Gamora. Gamora walks in and she's like, hey, we've been looking for you everywhere. Where have you been? And then just Venom goes ape, just goes crazy on her, just jumps in, goes full xenomorph kind of mode with his tongue out and 4 or 5 wings on his backside, talons of a hawk. It's pretty, I love this look. We've never seen the Venom take on these forms before, and it's a nice change. I really love this issue. And it's a great battle scene between the two of them. Gamora is no chump, and with her fire blades, it's the kind of the perfect weapon to take down Venom at this point. It's like, you've been trying to kill me ever since I've gotten out on this team. So Venom is kind of delusional at this point because the Guardians have always looked out for him, even though Gamora doesn't really know how to like anybody. Yeah, okay, so then Venom throws her into the wall, and she's just like, how dare you? And they're just going at it. This was a trick. They sent you out here so you could ruin me. I'm like, a trick? Now I will kill all of you. He's just going nuts. He's going back to his venomous, evil, murderous ways. He's in for like a fight or flight moment where he's just fighting to survive, it seems. But Gamora is able to electrocute or like use a taser-like device on her staff to knock him out and separate himself from the symbiote. She's like, come on, now! And it like blows up and blows him out of the symbiote. And without his legs, he's really like unable to move around and do much without that help. And then at that moment where before you see the Venom jump back onto him, a suction device pulls it in and captures it into a container that was created by none other than Rocket Raccoon. And then you see, Peter Quill's in the background. He's like, you signaled us about a minute ago. Sorry we weren't here on time. And then you see, you see Flash Thompson. He's like, I wasn't in control. Yeah, we kind of figured that, Peter Quill tells him. Like, I have no idea what's happening to me. How did you pull the symbiote off? and he's kind of amazed. And it turns out Tony Stark gave Peter Quill a little device just in case something like this happened. There was always moments where Flash gave into his anger or his alcoholism, and the venom kind of got affected by that. So they always knew that the venom came with a cost, and they prepared. But at this point in the comic, there was a moment where, like, if Flash doesn't wear the symbiote, it will kill him. It needs him to survive at this point. So it is a very symbiotic relationship. And Venom's just pretty much at this point, like, he's like a heroin addict who's lost his everything that he's found morally sound within his personality. He's just, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and passes out. So we jump back onto the Guardian ship where they're trying to figure out what they should do with Flash Thompson, who has been a member of their team. And just like you've seen in the movies or if you've read the books, they look out for each other like they're brothers and sisters, which is something I love because they're a bunch of misfits, and it's always nice to see that. So we have the Venom symbiote in a container, and as you know, they're talking about what they should do. Gamora's saying, let's just throw him out into space. We should just, throw him into the sun. He's like, he's our friend. We can't do it. Gamora just can't really feel any kind of emotion for anybody. She's just built tough. But as they're looking at the thing, he's like, Rocket's like, okay, well, we need to make a container before this thing kind of breaks out. And as he's saying, let's breaks out, sprack, it opens up and jumps onto Groot. And then at the final page of this book, we see Groot as Venom. And the last thing he's saying, as before it says to be continued, is I am Venom. So that was a really good one. I love this issue. We're going to jump ahead into number 22. That was Guardians of the Galaxy number 21 back in 2013. The story arc is called Planet of the Symbiotes. Let me go ahead and load up this next one. Okay, so here we go into Guardians of the Galaxy issue 22, where Bendis, Scheide, Lopez, and Keith were a part of this comic book issue. On the cover, we see Captain Marvel, a new looking, well, this is how Venom has looked in the recent issues once he went into space. Love it. I love the fact that he always uses his guns as well. It's just, it just goes so well with the character. In my eyes, a lot of people didn't like it, so let us know what you think. We see Groot in the background, and it looks like they're fighting a planet of symbiotes, but we haven't really got there. We don't know what is wrong with Venom, but there is something definitely wrong with them. We jump back into planet Spartax, which is, in this issue, Spartax is the planet, and we find out that Peter Quill's father is the president of this planet, or just the ruler, the king. But he's a jerk. He uses politics to manipulate everything for his own benefit. And before, I think if you got to listen to Tiffany's read through of the issue, because you'll see exactly why they're talking about planet Earth, and they're trying to figure out what they should do about Spartax, because right now it's going unruled, and they're trying to see who can rule the planet. And as they're going through the options, they say, well, why not Peter Quill? He's the one who outed him. He let the people know people are on his side. So they're trying to spin things in a political manner where someone else is like, no, he's a son of a pirate. How can we do it? Yeah, son of a pirate that you worked for. So, like, he's trading one devil for another in some's eye, but they just don't like him because he's human. So, but they look at that as the best option. And with politics, you got to go with what the people want, apparently. So yeah, what else does he have to do? And then we jump back onto the ship where the team's Guardian of the Galaxy is fighting a Venom symbiote version of Groot. He's going nuts, but it's funny because even as with the Venom intelligence on Groot, he's still limited to saying, I am Venom. We added Venom to his dictionary, but that's about it. And then he's wrestling and Drax is punching him down. But it's a pretty epic battle. I love the fact we see some leaves and his armored symbiote version of himself. I love it. It's nuts. And yeah, the ship is going crazy. We see Drax thrown at the helm where it spins the ship out of control. He's just flying through space, and he's just like, I am Venom. And as they're about to hit a meteorite, Peter Quill is able to jump back at the controls and regain control. Just get out of the way. And the one who's really taking care of business and making sure Venom doesn't hurt anybody is Rocket, just handling with his guns. Blam, 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 blam. But yeah, he was using, pretty much before that, he was using like non-deathly ammunition to make sure he doesn't actually hurt his friend. But at this point, they realize they have to fight back, and they're like, I'm sorry, and they all start shooting at him. And it sucks because they're hurting their friend. But it's great because Drax just jumps on the back and punches him donkey punches him in the back of the head and knocks, unhand him, and knocks Groot straight out of the venom like nobody's business. But then out of nowhere, as soon as it's out, guys, and it takes off into the vents. They try to fight it, but how do you fight water? It just crawls away and hides within the ship. And then jumps back through okay, what do we do? And then the goo isn't here, but they know it's going to be going back after Flash. So Gamora is just telling him, let's throw them out and be done with it. I love the fact she's just he's our friend though. And a friend is a friend. He's the one in trouble. He's brought a parasitic symbiote on board our ship that is trying to attach itself to us. You say it like it's a bad thing. I do, and I find you funny. So yeah. And then we go back onto the other side of the ship where we see Drax, Groot, and Rocket just kind of going through the corridors of the ship looking for the Venom symbiote. And it's kind of drawn out with one after another. It's got Rocket being the smallest one, Drax in the middle, and then Groot behind him. And it really looks a little bit like Scooby-Doo, and they're like zoinks, or because how Groot can't speak, so he's essentially the Scooby-Doo out of the group, and they're just scared because they're looking for the monster. And as they're looking, it slowly starts to attach itself to Rocket, grabs around his arm. He's like, get this thing off me, get this flat-arming thing off me. And they're like, I got it, stop moving. He's like, I'm trying. And by the time, they wrestle with it, it's fully attached to Rocket. And this time, we actually get to hear a little bit of what Venom wants.
Don't come one more step closer to me, dick boy. You and yours get the hell off my ship. Got business to do, and if I ever see your filthy mugs again in my life, I'll die happy whatever the hell I am.
So even Groot, Rocket, he doesn't know what he is, essentially. And in the books, you find out that he was created on a planet to be an armed guard, essentially. It was a planet made to be a prison, and they needed sentient beings to watch the prisoners. So they took the raccoons, the rabbits, all the animals that were on the planet and gave them sentience. And that is pretty much what led Rocket to being what he is until he escaped and got away. So jumping back into the story, Groot tries to defend him and talk to him, and he's like, I'm
sick of that old song and dance altogether.
So he's just sick of hearing, I'm Groot, I'm Groot, I'm Groot. So after that scene, you see Rocket just shooting at them, and I hope they make it. We jump into Captain Marvel, just in the middle of nowhere, going after bad guys. She's like, I don't know your language, but I can understand a thug when I see one, and pretty much takes them down for the police, and then takes off on her own until she sees a new poster saying a new president for Spartak's Empire, the president for you. And it shows Peter Quill being paraded around as a candidate. And she's like, what the blank is this? Jumping back onto the ship, we see them wrestling around with the Venom rocket. What does it look like he's doing? They're just trying to fight him off, but this one has literal guns for hands, and he's just blasting at them. He even hits Drax in the shoulder and knocks him down for a bit. And he actually puts a gun up to Peter Quill's head, and this is actually the first time we see the Venom actually have sympathy for someone. He's like,
I ain't gonna kill you, Quill. You always done me right by me. But you're gonna take your pals here and go. You're gonna get the hell off the ship. We need the ship.
Gamora, back down. But he's saying, help, help, help. Get this thing off me. We need help. We need help. So the Venom is going crazy, and they don't know what to do. Drax grabs him, and as Peter Quill tells him, no, don't, the Venom slowly starts to jump onto Drax. And okay, so then this issue ends with Drax being fully formed with the Venom symbiote. It's red and black. All his tattoos are essentially red, and then his skin's black, and he's got the, axes and pointed spears on his back. He's just fully formed for battle, and he just looks monstrous. If anybody I wouldn't want to see with a Venom symbiote on him, it probably would be Drax. Although I am very curious to see a Venom Hulk at his monstrous form. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into Guardians of the Galaxy number 23. This will be the final issue to the story arc of Planet of the Symbiotes. So we're going ahead in the last issue. We see that, it jumped onto Drax and the Venom is simply going insane, and we don't know what its intentions are or what it wants, but it's willing to hurt everybody it knows in order to get it. Jumping into this issue, we see Flash Thompson sparring with his girlfriend, the Valkyrie, from Thor's universe. They're just sparring, and that's what they usually did when he was back on the Avengers before he joined the Guardians. So this should be in the past, but then we see the Venom starts to choke and kill the Valkyrie. You see this whole monstrous bug, Venom-like looking alien just strangling her and taking her down, and you find out he's in a nightmare. I've had some nightmares like that. Not so much. Not fun. He's like, what the hell's going on? He wakes up and he goes down into the ship and sees that everybody looks dead. Like, are they dead? From his point, I would think they're dead. But then he's like, Rocket, what happened? What did this? Thank God, still breathing. So he's gonna try to help him, but then he sees Drax driving the ship, and Drax with the Venom turns around with his fang. He looks like a demonic presence from. Yeah, like I would not want to run into this thing into an alleyway. Red face, red eyes, and just gorilla-like teeth. Kind of looks like a baboon's set of teeth. And he just tells him, and you find out you're on the planet Symbiote. And Matt kind of showed Matt this art, and he did point out that it really does look like the xenomorph from Aliens, which how they cocoon and they make the ship look slimy and pretty much like a cocoon, so they can hide and blend into the backgrounds, or just the perfect hunting ground. So when you're jumping in, I'd be nervous if I was Flash Thompson or any one of the Guardians at this point, because if one Venom symbiote was this bad, what's a whole planet gonna do? Drax, are you in there? And he's like, wait, for what? And then the ship is wrapped in Venom like symbiote, like it looks like the ground, but it just morphs, and it seems like the whole planet is alive. And he's just like, oh my God. And you see flowers have symbiotes. There's flying flower-looking aliens with symbiotes. It's kind of like an Alice in Wonderland version if it had a sticky symbiote covered in it. He's like, oh my God, what is this?
This is, for lack of a better term, the planet of my origin. I have been summoned home. I do not know if this is the end of our journey together, but I do know everything there is to know about you, Agent Thompson. I know your strength, and I know your flaws. I know your triumphs, and I know your failures. I know your fears and your pain, and I have grown to admire everything about you.
So this is not Drax speaking to Flash. This is the symbiote itself. And he's just like, wait, what? Is the symbiote talking to me through Drax? And you see Drax is knocked out. The Venom jumps off of Drax and kind of escapes the ship. So it's just jumping onto its own planet. Drax wakes up and blames Flash, grabs him into a headlock. You traitor! And he, like, as they're kind of wrestling, the other Guardians wake up and stop him. It's like, leave him alone. He didn't do this. So he's like, wait, are you sure? Are you sure I shouldn't just snap his neck or take him out with a punch? He's like, no, trust me. He's not the one we should worry about. And they're like, wow, we're really here. We're on the planet Symbiote. And you see all kinds of different creatures and things, like they kind of look like stingrays covered in symbiotes. Like this is an underwater universe, but not underwater. It's something out of this world, literally. And it's the planet of the symbiotes. It took us home. It took us to their world. And this is when it jumps into a dialogue where you actually hear them trying to communicate. You hear what? Think, Drax, if you were an alien race made out of a symbiote and didn't have any host bodies to attach itself to, this is what it would look like. You know, if you had to come over and say hi, I'm going to present myself. You are a madman, Tom. So they think that they've been brought there because they need bodies to host. So they're very wary and they don't want to go out. He's like, no, this is important. Flash is convinced that this is something he needs to do. And it's like, it's nice breathing, but I plan on staying alive. And Flash is like, no, they're speaking to me. And Peter Quill, being the friend he is, trusts Flash. And he listens to him. He picks him up and he takes him outside where you see this giant symbiote flying, like branch of the bigger being, like come down and wrap him up. And he takes Flash away. So at first there were like, I am Groot, and what can we do? Like we can't do anything. But then out of nowhere you hear Guardians, and it's fine. Flash is okay. Flash actually looks like he's wearing his Venom symbiote again, but rather than looking scary and scaly, it looks almost beautiful armor. It looks divine in a sense. And you see Groot coming through, and Groot he's like, trust me, you need to communicate with us. But the way they communicate is by attaching themselves. So at first they're like, no, we can't trust you. You can't trust you. And Groot, being the lovable Groot he is, jumps right in and bursts into like a butterfly version of the symbiote Groot, where it's like a silvery clay version. It's not black. And it looks awesome. This is the first time we actually seen this symbiote look beautiful rather than so scary. Groot's okay. Remember Marvel? He died in the space cancer during Galark just like this. And Peter Quill tells him, shut up. And Peter Quill reaches out, and you see his eyes go white. Gamora reaches out. You see her eyes go white. Rocket's eyes go blank. And then you see Drax's eyes go blank. And they all go blank. And they're synced in. And this is when you hear the planet speak to them.
There are many stories about us across the galaxy. Some true, some false. Some concocted by renegade members of our own species. And because of this, we are known by many names. We prefer to be called the Clintar. Allow us to explain ourselves using familiar perspectives and the vernacular of your species. As you well know, our species is that of a symbiont. We need a host relationship to an intelligent organism so we can reach out across our galaxy and help those who cannot help themselves. We are the mind and soul of the warrior, but need a form to act out what we know to be our true ways of noble and virtuous galaxy. Like yourselves, we are dedicated to the making of great society, but ours is not an exact way. We know of no society whose is. Our organisms need a perfect symbiosis to reach our ultimate goal. That means our host body has to be a perfect blend of moral and physical ideal. With the right host, we have the ability to create the ultimate noble warrior. And because of the delicate balance needed, there are very few members of a very few species that can rise to the occasion of what we have to offer. Without the perfect situation, the results could be and are often somewhat monstrous. It is because of this that there are parts of this galaxy where our reputation is hardly to be desired.
Like Carnage and Venom, everything that they were, it seems to be like a faction between them, that they are supposed to be noble, but if not given the right host, they lose everything that they are. And it goes on to explain this. Here we go. Back into the planet speaking.
If the symbiote is not perfect, it can be corrupted and then it takes on its own life. It separates itself from the collective. If the host body suffers from cultural malignancy or chemical imbalance, the symbiote can be corrupted, and that corruption can be spread even faster and more potently. And like any cancer, it spreads so quickly and does so much damage even after the original symbiosis is over, and it is a very large universe and corrupt pieces of us break away without connection to us, the home world. A damaged Clintar can spin out of control. A few of us have. It attaches to a host and builds an inferior symbiote relationship and cause such damage and horror, even going so far as to spreading lies and half-truths of our own intentions, all to feed its corrupted desires. This is our shame, but the universe always finds a way, and even a broken symbiosis can bring true heroism. It is why we are so honored by the presence of Eugene Thompson this day, and so grateful to you Guardians for helping bring him here.
So it seems like, yeah, the planet, the symbiote is a good force, a force of the cosmos that helps to bring the best out of the best. And if too far from the collective mind, like it's kind of like how bees work, where they all work to build the honeycomb, right? They build their home, they protect their queen, whereas these things go out there to help and make the universe enlightened. But once too far from the mind, or let's say that it attached himself to someone with irradiated blood, then it would poison it and corrupt it. So that being said, it must have been used on the original Secret Wars when they found the symbiote in the alien spaceship, where we thought it was a costume maker and it turned out to be Venom. So this could have been the answer, that it was just simply a weapon for good in case they needed it, or maybe someone else's symbiote that used it there. But yeah, during the corruption and like it makes sense that we saw what happened with Carnage. It attached himself, and that's what happened after. It attached himself to someone who wasn't really pure. Eddie Brock was selfish and kind of insane at the time that the Venom found him. And even after being on Peter, the irradiated blood from the spider bite poisoned the Venom. Spider-Man should not have the symbiote. Superhumans shouldn't have the symbiote because they're already changed. They're not normal, in a sense. So we jump back into the collective mind telling them,
We have been aware of Eugene's symbiosis for a long time.
and it kind of shows pictures from his past, which, great story. I definitely suggest picking it up when Flash Thompson jumps into the symbiote.
We were so happy that even through their struggles, the bond had made a warrior whole and a planet safer. This planet, so far away from our interconnection, once they joined your guardians out in the galaxy, we reached out to them in our way, but the damage to the Eugene symbiosis had been too much.
So he was being called out, but he couldn't hear it right because of the bad connection. It's kind of like a really crappy Wi-Fi connection.
The fractured connection frightened and irritated his broken symbiote and began to react to its surroundings irrationally.
This is why we see him attacking Gamora in the first issue.
Eugene, of course, had no way of knowing any of this, and his symbiote had long forgotten how to communicate back to the collective mind. But as you drew closer and as we made better connection, we were able to help guide you here. And now we can fix what had been damaged over the time and from the rigors of struggle. We can reconnect a very worthy Eugene Thompson to his symbiote, now fixed and made whole as part of us. Now with the clarity and purity that he and no one on your planet or in your entire star system has ever experienced before. Welcome to your new symbiote, Eugene Thompson. You will discover new abilities you never had before, access to new information about yourself and your symbiote you never had before. You will now be a proper agent of the cosmos, a warrior of the galaxy, a soldier to protect your home planet and anyone who needs your help. It is our honor to help you fulfill your truest and best self, and we hope that this brings you personal peace and happiness.
And the first thing Flash Thompson says in his newly formed Venom costume, which looks way beefier, kind of looks like a Ben 10 version of the symbiote, which if you've seen that, it'll click right away because it might actually be the same artist that worked on that. First thing he says is, well, all right.
So who's to say, maybe with our gratitude and blessings, may the stars guide you all. We have taken the moment of your bonding to purge you of all the poisons and cancers that may have infected your organisms along the way. You are cleansed and pure for your next quest.
Cancer? Who had cancer? Wow. Oh yeah. Eddie Brock had cancer for the longest time, so even that damaged the symbiote and drove him crazy. And it made sense once the symbiote was insane and corrupted so much, once it gave birth to Carnage and attached itself to someone who's mentally insane, it makes sense why we've seen the Venom symbiote act the way it has been for so many years. And after this, we jump back in and the gang's back together. They're happy. They're excited that their friend is okay. This is like someone who's just pulled themselves out of a heroin addiction. But they're happy, and they see, well, Captain Marvel jumps on the radio like, hey, what have you been like up to? And like, wait, what are you talking about? What's going on? And he's like, you need to see this. And the last thing you see on this issue is that Peter Quill has been named president of the Spartax Empire. As you know, Peter Quill, I don't know if he would be the best politician or would care to be, because he's just like, what is this? Is this a joke? And that's how the issue ends. It kind of jumps into the Black Vortex, which is a story arc where they find a mirror that can unlock cosmic abilities. So if you want to see that one or would like us to continue this series, please let us know. This again is Acidic Arians doing a read through for Rat House overviews. Please let us know what you think about this. If you want to hear more stories, or if you have a story arc you would like us to go over and explain, or maybe give our own insight on, give us a call at 714-684-1652. That again, you can find us at rathaus.net. That is RATTHAUS.net. And if you're looking for like a geek fuel box, or like something with a bunch of cool, I actually just got a colorful potion bottle that lights up different colors, and it looks just like the bottles from Zelda and Link. It's really amazing stuff, and they do give you exclusives. You can get 30% off your first box if you go to rathaus.net, and we got a banner right there on the right side of the page. Just go ahead and click that banner, and you can get 30% off your first box. I'm giving out a shout out to our friends at Growing Up, Not Growing Old, Superiority Complex, the hashtag show. Check out that website. That's also where I'm a writer. We got Matt the Rat, MTR, who's read through the legendary Star-Lord. He's also a contributing writer to that as well, if you want to see reviews on DC Comics and other comic books as well. Also, check us out via YouTube. Most likely, if you're listening to this or watching this is on our YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our other shows like Hunt for the Paranormal. Your Acidic Aaron M, host and one of the co-hosts of that show, where we go through demons, angels, every paranormal thing you can think of. We'll talk about it. At our other show, That's Life, where we have Rat House Tries, where we try anything you want us to try. If there's a new burger, but it looks disgusting and you want one of our guys to try it, they will, and we'll record it so you see their face. Also, we got Geek Speak Show. Be sure to check them out. And Third Party Controller, Shane Gray Live. That's one of our buddies as well. We'll also be at WeirdCon next month doing some panels and having a booth. So check that out. That's WYRD, WeirdCon. Check that out. It's going to be in Costa Mesa, California. Also, if you want to try Lyft and you never rode with Lyft before, use our promo code, and for your first 10 rides, you save $5 off. And that promo code is RHP. If you go to our website, we also have that as well. And yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Oh, we also didn't want to forget this, Audible. Our Audible is a really good service. You get 30 days free if you use our Rat House link. So you just go to audibletrial.com/rathouse, RATTHAUS. Also, if you want to just go to the website, there is a link right there on the right side of the page, and you get 30 days free, and you get to read through any books where they read it to you. And there's even some with full performances where every character has their own voice, and it's been very awesome. So I would definitely check that out if I were you, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys.